We made it to episode 1 of the Big Picture Pinball Show. How do we sound? How do we look?
I can see us. I think we look good. This program is really designed for filmmakers to learn filmmaking as well as embrace our love of pinball. Our first program today is with Todd Tuckey.
Todd Tuckey.
Todd is a veteran producer and the proprietor of TNT Amusements.
I'm Todd Tuckey. For the past 30 years, my crew and I have been working to keep the American arcade alive. We go through hell and back to find and restore your favorite quarter munchers so nostalgic gamers have another chance at the high score. YouTube brought me into the homes of people all around the world. I mean, we were getting emails and phone calls and texts from everywhere. People were interested, curious. Of course, a lot of people want free advice.
What is the total count now of how many videos you have posted on YouTube?
Published videos are 1,663.
Oh, and you edited all of them?
I'm editing 60. Everyone, those are edited ones, yes.
That you
I have
edited
a lot of live
personally.
ones, yes. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of live ones that are unedited.
Our first episode, we hung out with Todd Tuckey from TNT Amusements. That was a really fun way to start off this show. And tonight, we have a very special presentation.
We are going to learn about spooky pinball. Dana and Joe Reeves are here. They have made a wonderful documentary called The Things That Go Bump in the Night, The Spooky Pinball Story.
It all kind of started when Squirrel and I were watching TV one day and there was some people playing pinball. And she asked me what it was. I was shocked that my kid, how could you not know what a pinball machine is? So I decided I was going to take her out and we were going to play pinball. And I couldn't find one anywhere. Then I jumped on the internet and started doing my homework and understood that the games that I grew up on and loved were slowly disappearing. So I figured I better buy a game right away before you can't get one. Had no idea that it was going to snowball into what it did. Welcome to the very first ever episode of the Spooky Pinball Podcast. My name is Charlie. I will be your host.
I just grew up liking it and learned how to play pretty early on.
On January 7th, I went to work and like an idiot, I gave 4 weeks notice that I would in fact be leaving. Spooky Pinball is now more than a podcast. We're going to build custom and production games. It will be scary, sexy, funny, and it better not suck because as of February 1st, I have no income except for game sales on games that I haven't built yet.
It was shocking to hear, a guy with 2 kids and a wife and a family quit his job, go into manufacturing pinball machines.
When he said he was going to start a pinball company,
They thought I was nuts.
I told him he was just crazy.
you might want to rethink all that.
Pinball's a risky business, there's no doubt about it. A couple failures in a row game-wise and you're done.
The sales were really slow at first.
We sold one game in 2 weeks.
And I was like, oh crap, did I ruin his company by suggesting we make this game first instead of the zombie game?
And I thought, we're done.
It's what he's always wanted to do. I mean, he has a passion for it. If anybody was to do it, it would be him, and he would be good at it.
I'm really proud of him, and I'm really proud of what he's done. So that's probably the best part for me.
Pinball it's hard. It's very hard. I absolutely love it. Haven't had more than 2 days off in 3 years now, but I'm not gonna stop.
As you can see at the top left is James. I'm right here, Emoto, and then we have Joel and Dana Reeves up at the top right. Joel is the director, Dana the producer of Things That Go Bump in the Night, and of course, wait, my hands. How do I do my hands? This way. Mr. Chuck Emery himself in his haunted house that he lives in.
See, this is kind of odd because I consider spooky things, fun and wonderful. But if you're talking scary, just having them come in and document all of this, not knowing if was this going to have a happy ending or was it going to be watching yet another little startup company spin its wheels, crash and burn. And I certainly didn't want that to be the case. So yeah, I mean, to me, I honestly didn't know. And it was a big part of the reason that, number one, we are, I'm friendly and nice, I think, but I'm kind of private too. And so the process was a little intimidating, especially, with my family involved. But that to me was the spookiest part of it, was just not knowing. They could have been there documenting all hell breaking loose, and I'm so glad it wasn't.
And switch the story around to have that drama. Yeah.
We're so glad you guys were so gracious and open and accommodating. You were just, and you didn't try to hide anything. You didn't try to sugarcoat or anything. You were just totally like you are. You were honest and open.
Here it is.
And thank you for being so gracious and allowing us to tell your story.
Hello, everybody out there that are watching episode 3 of the Big Picture Pinball Show. Welcome. We have
excited for the third episode of our pinball podcast here.
Yeah,
pinball storytelling combat.
We have a very interesting person here with us today. She is an animator, and James is going to tell us a little bit more about Abby Luck.
She is the creative director and founder of Prone Studios, an animation company in Burbank, California, and I understand that Burbank is the place for animation. If you're going to be animating, you got to come and hang out in Burbank, apparently.
Yeah.
We're going to be screening her stop-motion pinball themed film, the Pinball number 12 Reanimated. 12.
My favorite part is the pinball coming around Saturn, and then the music starts getting even more trippier, and the lights. Amazing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of subtleties to it. When I see it, I think of all the process it is to create a stop motion.
Well, this one I kind of just like banged out in like 3 weeks. It was almost like a fever dream. I just worked on it all the time. And so I'm not sure if I followed the traditional steps that there are to making this sort of thing. Like usually you would start out with a storyboard and you would draw out every frame that you're going to eventually build in the world. But since I kind of was doing a shot for shot remake of a lot of the parts, it's like the framework was already there. I didn't really like need to storyboard it and plan it out too much. Cause if you watch the original, those initial shots where the pinball is like bouncing around and like going through the different tubes, those are just, my interpretation of what the original looked like. So it's just timed exactly like the first one. But to build the sets and stuff, basically, a lot of trips to Home Depot and the art supply store. You nail together some planks of wood and then paint them all out. And then the way I animated that ball, I remember I was really into these rare earth magnets at the time. So I don't know if the ball itself is a magnet or if it's just a regular pinball. And then I had magnets underneath the set that I would move around to keep it in place because it's really hard to keep a little metal ball in place
because it always rolls everywhere. Magnets.
Yeah. Like another way people do that is with double stick tape and stuff, but it would pull up all the paint and stuff on the set. So yeah, used a lot of magnets in that shoot. And then the lighting effects, I hired some programmer to program like this tiny little circuit board with dials on it that would make the lighting change in the set when I turned it just a little bit. So I would like take a frame, turn this tiny little knob so that the lights would change from red to green or something, and do that like, 100 times to make the lighting effects change.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Big Picture Pinball Show. We have a very special show for you today. We're going to be featuring Willy's Wonderland and Willy's Wonderland Pinball.
We're here with Spencer Murrell, who is a prop builder, a puppeteer, a puppet maker, and Molly Coffey, an award-winning filmmaker and owner of fabrication house Zombie Cat Builds. And that is such an awesome name. So we're here to check out their work on Willy's Wonderland. For those who have not seen the film, it features a wonderful pinball machine that they design and build.
And I'd like to say, just as a shout out, I'm so excited to have Molly and Spencer on the show, and especially Molly. I've known her for over a decade. We have bled, sweat, and cried our eyes out on many an indie film set back in the day, when we were doing lots of crazy stuff that I'm pretty sure none of us would ever do again when it comes to production. So I've been in the trenches with her, so now seeing her on this show is just like so special to me. But I'm gonna play the trailer for this movie that they worked on. The awesome Atlanta film community came together and worked on, and I'm so excited. We are excited to hear more all about the behind the scenes.
Welcome to Willy's Wonderland. Spend the night cleaning Willy's Wonderland, and I will pay to have your car fixed. Deal? You are officially on staff. Let's get the hell out of here. I can't stand to hear a grown man scream.
This place has a dark history. I know the bullshit story they told you. It's a lie. You're here to be a human sacrifice. Have you been listening to a word I've been saying? He's gonna die in here, but he won't listen to me.
The machines got out. Nobody is safe. Put your balls on, Evan. We're going to Willy's.
He's not trapped in here with them. We're trapped in here with him. It's your birthday, and we want you to have fun. It's your birthday, so let's
It's birthday time! Everybody knows you from the Atlanta community, but anybody outside of the Atlanta community, myself as well as other people probably watching the stream, might not know as much about you guys and exactly how you guys met, a little bit of your origin story, a little bit about what Zombie Cat is, what the hell's a zombie cat. If you could elaborate a little bit, tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll talk more pinball.
So Zombie Cat Builds is this fabrication studio that we have in the West End in Atlanta. There's about 8 of us there. We all dabble in puppetry or fabrication in some way. It's interesting because everybody kind of touches the art department and film in some way, but then also touches puppets in some way, which is obviously like a very niche kind of person. And so we've just kind of gathered all of those people under one roof, under the hopes that we can kind of build anything that that we want that might come across our table on a project. And Spencer Spencer can kind of tell the story of how he found Zombie Cat, but he kind of just wandered into our shop one day.
Yeah,
like a zombie cat.
I got a job in film industry like anybody does by popping your head out of a hole at the right time and saying, I can do that.
How long have you guys been collaborating? When did he wander into the shop, and did you feed him before he...
Actually, I was really amazed that they had snacks available. The last
Crafty.
that I
Crafty.
worked
Always
on.
gotta have it.
I honestly couldn't believe it. I was like, you guys actually will give us this free.
So you don't wander too far away.
And he never
to come
left.
back.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the funny thing
Keep you
always of
working.
people that aren't used to the film industry. When you then feed them, it's really impressive.
They know what they're doing. If they're having starving artists come in and work on these crazy asks at a really tight turnaround time, if you just give them food, I mean, that's half the battle right there. But yeah, I think it was like I think 7 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, 7 is right.
You might want to say what a production designer does, because I explain that to people all the time, and they're like, my friend Molly's a production designer. Like, they don't quite get what that means.
That's definitely fair. So the production designer is the person who's the head of the art department. The art department does all of the props. They do all the graphics. They do all of the sets and build them and decorate them. The production designer is like the head of that department. So I have lots of sub departments that work underneath me, from construction and paint and set deck and props. We do mostly like draw the sets, and then we have the people within our department that build them.
I don't know if you want to play that video where I'm sort of roaming around to that 2-minute video, Emoto, but I can. Basically, Molly sent me a number of set designs and things as they were forming. So I'm working off of assets of the machine of the movie, and then trying to integrate them into the machine. So as she was making stuff, each of these characters had a part of Willy's Wonderland, like a room that they were associated with. So I tried to get that in there as much as I can. I like the idea of having themed shots in a pinball table, and each shot represents one thing. And so I tried to push that angle. So you have Nighty Night here, and his ball pit that's back there. That's like a little kind of a scoop, a saucer, I should say. Yeah. This is Tito. Tito had a volcano.
Yeah, but you don't ever actually, it's so dark and they're doing like a flashing light. You don't ever actually see the volcano, but there was a volcano in his room.
Oh, crazy.
That's Alligator, and that's his spinner shot there. Nice. And then Siren Sarah's Fairy Forest is up here in the top corner that you're seeing. She has a whole room in there that, makes it into the film. And then you have Gus's arcade with little 3D printed arcade cabinets and the rocket ship that's from his area.
Yeah, it was the ticket booth at the back of the room that we built.
And then Cammy Chameleon is there. And then Ozzy's shot is these drop targets. And then of course you have the dining room area, which was the part that I was probably most excited about. That was that sort of idea came to me immediately when she said pinball machine, like based sort of like a Chuck E. Cheese. It's sort of, it's a kid's restaurant. I was like, oh, if you could get a table with the pop bumpers, you could have that be like a dining room that the ball's bouncing around.
To the point even that the tiles on the floor is the pattern of the tiles in the room, because I had an overview that we had drawn that we gave to construction when they were placing the tiles, and I just sent the same drawing to Spencer.
Yeah. I think that gives a good overview of it. It was really a treat to be able to think about it in this way, and some of the stuff that they're working. It always happens with movies that there's details and sort of lore and thought that goes way deeper into things. So it was really nice to be able to get that in the table, at least, even if it didn't make it into the final film.
Hey everyone, from Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, all joining us for a short film that I saw, I'm pretty sure like 3 years ago, because Steve Bowden posted it on his Fun with Bonus website that we all know and love. and I fell in love with it. It's really funny, it's dark, and it has something very special about pinball related to it. So I decided to create this entire TV show just so we could screen this short film and then build other episodes around it. So I'm really excited for this one.
Greetings and salutations.
A pterodactyl ruined my hair.
So even though that was perfect, we're gonna have to do the whole thing over again.
You want a few variations?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ow! Let go of my hair! Ow! Let go of my hair! Ow! Let go of my hair!
Rock and roll, Lil. Let's take it from the multiplier bonus round.
Great. Double bone bonus! Triple bone bonus! 20 bone bonus multi-ball!
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, sure.
I know it's last minute.
No, it's fine.
Rewrites.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I was reading a copy, and I was thinking something like, "Say my tooth, multi-ball."
No. If we wanted something like that, we would have got Kev.
Wait, have you called Kev already?
Just do the dude thing.
You want me to dude on a caveman machine?
It's Cave Dude Pinball. Great.
No problem.
Bone guitar solo!
It's a lot of copies.
We can get in one session.
Wait, not two.
Cave Dude is the best. Cave Dude is the best. Cave Dude is the best.
Killing it. Next.
You got it.
One session will be enough. It's a lot of copy. Kev did more copy than that in a session.
Kev does Kev voice. This is dude. The techniques are completely different. For example,
paying for one session. One.
Did it. Pangea multi-ball. You did it. Pangea multi-ball.
Perfect. Last one.
Pterodactyl jackpot.
Bingo, bango, lady. You are out.
Super voice, super technique. She is superb.
Yeah, it's kind of been professional.
Here you go. Knock 'em dead.
Wow. Well, let me do my quick review. I'm very good at this.
You know what? You could read them in the booth, out loud, while we're recording.
Yeah, get in there. You got this. You're a pro. Come on.
Just remember, the dude is a fantasy and the dude is reality at once. Just keep it grounded but elevated.
Great stuff. And by the way, Samurai Madness. Love your work on Samurai Madness. That is incredible stuff. That's some of the best work I've ever seen.
You son of a bitch. Are you okay?
Am I okay? Yes, I'm okay. Am I okay? Who are you even talking to?
No, are you okay?
I'm great, if that's what you mean. Better than okay. I'm great.
You son of a bitch.
What are we in church now? This is...
Alrighty, we're rolling. So whenever you're ready.
Just...
Go right ahead when you're ready. No rush.
I'm ready. I said break rocks, dude. Not look at my knockers.
Yeah, that's Lael's copy.
And even so, that read was a tad forced.
Rock on! Rock on! Rock on! That's all the ways, guys. There are no more ways. That's it.
Okay, well, let's move on then.
All right, we're moving on. Super fire! Super wheel! Super pterodactyl! Super saber-tooth jackpot!
That was slurred a little bit. You just clean it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna mop it up, okay? I'm gonna mop it up. Super Fire, Super Wheel, Super Pterodactyl, Super Saber-Tooth Jackpot!
Can you just,
Yes, I could. What? Do what?
just do it again, I guess.
Okay, I'll do it again. Super Fire, Super Wheel, Super Pterodactyl, Super Saber-Tooth Jackpot!
Okay, it's getting a little cartoonish.
It's getting cartoonish? Okay.
Stop trying to be Kev.
Yeah, okay. All right. Super Fire, Super Wheel, Super Pterodactyl, Super Saber-Tooth Jackpot!
Okay, once more.
Super Fire, Super Wheel, Super Pterodactyl, Super Saber-Tooth Jackpot!
Okay, so once more, how about without cutting me off? Because we need clean audio. That's why we're here.
I didn't want to put you through the cutting off of you, but I had to, you know. Here we go. Oh! Super Fire, Super Wheel, Super Jackpot!
That wasn't even the line. Yeah, that didn't work.
All right.
Maybe just,
You know what? Here, look. Let me peel it back just a second, guys. And I'm sorry. You know, this is a hot box, and you guys are out there. Let me just rebalance it.
Sure,
Let's do it again.
Take your time.
Okay, here we go. By the way, can we split these?
I'm not cutting out your jackpots.
Let's just split them up. Here we go. Super Fire, Super Fire, Super Fire.
I am not splitting.
They're already split, brother. Super Wheel, Super Wheel, Super Wheel.
I swear to God,
I swear to God, I'm gonna Super Pterodactyl you, Super Pterodactyl you, Super Pterodactyl you. Go, Super Saber-Tooth, Super Saber-Tooth, Super Saber-Tooth, dude.
What's going on? Why don't you just step outside, take 5?
Sure. Why don't I just step outside and take 15? All right. Okay. Fellows, greetings, salutations. New day, new dawn. I'm gonna do fantastic work for you. I'm ready. You say the word, I'll do it. I promise. I am. Who the fuck is that? Huh? What?
It's a joke that.
Shut up, Otis.
Frank. Joke. It's just
Frank,
You think you're
made a
special?
joke.
Even the janitor can do your job. Go ahead, Herb.
Super Fire, Super Wheel.
Into the microphone.
Super Fire, Super Wheel, Super. Hey, look, man, I don't know what's going on with you and that guy.
Come on, Murray. Just one game. Do I see a big winner out there? Who wants to play the game? Put in a quarter. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Niles O'Smiles. Let's play. You're on a roll. Great shot. Big spin bonus jackpot.
Spin the wheel and you can go home with fabulous fabulous prizes.
Wow!
What a shot!
Big spin bonus.
Marie, are you okay?
Oh no! You lose. Match the number to win another game. The wheel is spinning round and round. Who knows where it lands? Here it comes.
Wasn't that the most amazing short film ever? I'm so glad I got to play that for y'all. Thank you, Matt and Ian, for joining us. That was so much fun.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for watching. Yeah, that was fun. See it again.
People in the chat are like, I swear to God, I'm going to super pterodactyl you. And he's like, there's no way I'm not going to say that during next Pinball League night. I know, the call-outs are great. I remember when Steve Bowden and I watched it, and a few of us others, and every time we see each other at pinball shows, we'd be like, super fire, super wheel, super Sabretooth. So
really the early start of this thing was just it actually came off of the first time I heard about Medieval Madness, that it was like Tina Fey and Scott Adsit from obviously from 30 Rock, and they were just doing Second City out in Chicago, and then they do the voices for these Midway machines. And it really makes you think, it's like, oh wow, like these could be very talented people doing pinball voiceover, because pinball voiceover to me is, I think it's very funny, but it's always very bad. It's always like just the silliest stuff, and you do have to say the silliest things, and the jokes are bad. It's got this really like broad sense of humor in all these pinball machines. So then it became like, well, what's the world of getting that done like? And I will say this, in terms of setting up this film and having the actors, Demorge Brown ended up being our lead, and Demorge is brilliant. We worked with him once or twice before and some other things, but he actually wasn't even our first choice. When we were conceiving this, we were going to shoot with somebody else, and then we got the gears rolling, and then all of a sudden our friend got a job in New York, and so we had to replace him, and Demorge was the first one I thought to replace him, and it totally changed the film in a substantial way, because Demorge is just a different kind of he's a different kind of actor. He's like the real deal. He's so good, and so many like, even in terms of just doing these the different voices, where he does, like, he's got a California dude voice, he's got like the caveman voice, and he can do all those things, but also like he has such a real core as an actor, like you're feeling for him as he gets in there. So bringing on Demorge was like a big thing, and any filmmaker in LA that's gotten a chance to work with him knows that he is like the tops. He's the best.
Yeah, and he also brings so much to it, like okay, I'm better than okay, I'm great. Yeah, that's Demorge.
So we're going to introduce you to Mark Green. He is the director and editor, and Michael Sanders, the cinematographer and producer of the Tilt Pinball show. It's had some other names, and we're going to talk about that, but right now it's the Tilt Pinball show, and it's a really wonderful series to learn about pinball, everything pinball.
I find there's a lot of nuance that's missed in playing pinball.
You do whatever you want.
That's just it. You can play pinball however you like. Yeah. As long as you're having fun, that's really all that matters.
Pinball can be found everywhere. It's not just your local arcade. You can find them at laundromats, bowling alleys, or even your local skate shop.
The bright lights, the sounds, and then you could actually feel the game when you're playing it. It was awesome. I was pretty much hooked.
Oh, what a save!
There we go. I learned how to play it now.
I prefer to just play chaotically and kind of just keep the ball up. It's more fun.
So why do you play pinball? Just to win, or is it just for fun, or a little bit of both?
I have to play pinball.
That's the right answer.
In the first season, we went to different locations that had pinball machines, and we didn't go to an arcade. We purposefully didn't go to an arcade. We tried to hit up locations that had pinball machines but weren't arcades. And then in the second season, we moved it onto a set because of COVID and we were in lockdown. It was just, and we needed more time to shoot the machines.
Yeah.
But what that meant was we were sort of losing that local content and that local flavor, and we needed that in the show for our broadcast deal. So we figured that we would just go and do this little segment where we would go travel around to different locations and just shoot Mark and Trevor playing on these machines. But like, we scraped the bottom of the barrel of like, we have shot now at every pinball machine, and Mark has personally updated pin maps because
Oh, good. Thank you.
There weren't even like.
You should be an admin for the Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, yeah.
I felt like it. Like, you know, I would show up at some locations and they wouldn't have a pinball machine. I'm like, what's going on? It's like made the trip out here, and they're like, yeah, no, and it's just like, cool.
Yeah, a couple places that may or may not have been fronts for criminal activity. We're like, no, just get out. Like, we're not. The machine works. Well, are you bringing a camera in? Yeah. Well, no, we don't want you in here.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of the Big Picture Pinball Show. Hello, James.
Hello, Emoto. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm groovy. I'm excited about today's show. This is show 7?
Yeah.
7?
We made it to episode 7. It's crazy,
That's awesome.
right?
There is so much content out there for pinball and filmmaking.
You had no idea, and I kept telling you.
Yes.
And you were like, no one makes stuff with pinball machines. And I was like, there's a whole world, James. Let's go.
People documenting and talking about their pinball machines. Well, this is a pretty cool show. Our guy today, a filmmaker who made a pinball machine inspired from his film. And this is a guy who was inspired to create a pinball machine after making his film.
Cool. I'm really excited because I got to actually flip this game at Pinball Expo this year. Yeah, he was in the homebrew lineup with the rest of the gang that came out to Pinball Expo, and it was a really fun game. And then when I found out that it was inspired by his film, I was like, you need to be on our show.
Okay, so here's the situation. I did watch you pee.
Sicko.
Yeah, but I repeat, okay? I repeat, it was not sexual whatsoever. It was for scientific purposes only. I watched in the name of science. I'm serious.
And you own 500.
I am poor.
I got like $12 on me.
$14.
Yeah.
Our driver is not going to be happy.
Aren't you a little curious to why my shoe look like it has open gel ketchup on it?
It looks like you stepped in a ketchup packet and it busted everywhere. I mean, yeah, so somebody threw away some old ketchup packets.
Come on now. Who throws away ketchup packets?
A lot of people. Bought some good times from your gay friend.
Really?
Go ahead. Think we should take a couple bumps before we do this?
That's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea at all. All right, and you watch me pee.
So?
So I just hope it was in the name of science.
All right. Welcome, Joel. Welcome to the
Hi.
party. Thanks for
Thank you
joining
for
us
inviting
today.
thank you for
Alright,
inviting me. I'm a
welcome,
fan of this
Joel.
show, and you guys rock it.
Awesome. Yeah, we your machine just sitting in there with you in your house. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. Are you talking about me or the machine? Because I think we're both beautiful, but.
So yeah, James, will you introduce Joel officially, or we'll have him introduce himself? How do you want?
Go ahead, Joel. Tell us a little bit about. We always like to talk a little bit about your journey to where you've come. How did you decide to make your film, and then why did the film inspire the pinball machine? And tell us a little bit about that journey and how you got there. We're always
Oh my gosh, I could talk about this for so long, but I'll shorten it for you. I always wanted to make a film just, to have fun, or to like, oh, this is a fun movie, and it's just, language how normal people would talk, rather than like scripted Hollywood type scripts. So I tried it once. It didn't quite work out as I had planned. So the second time, I wanted to shoot it. I wanted good sound. So, but writing has always come, like, I love writing. Like I write scripts all the time that will never get produced. So yeah, so I have plenty of scripts. They're all just sitting on a shelf.
Do they have pinball machines in them?
They will. The only movie that does is the movie that this is based off of, the pinball game. Oh, just to clarify, the movie is called Popcorn Landfill, and the pinball game is called Boys Night Out. People get kind of confused about that.
Tell us why it's a little bit different. Why didn't you just label it Popcorn Landfill for the machine and vice versa?
That's a great question. So initially it was an idea that I wanted to use themes from a few movies that I made, and then I just ended up using clips from Popcorn Landfill. So to put it all together, I was just like, well, it makes sense to call it something different if I'm using themes and ideas from a few different movies. So
Sure.
I ended up just using clips from Popcorn Landfill. The name stuck with me. I got used to it. It grew on me.
The Boys Night Out.
Yes, it did.
Isn't that the theme of Popcorn Landfill? That's kind of what I got from the trailer.
Yeah, definitely.
The guys want to go hang out and party or get into some mischief, or
No, mischief finds them. That's just happenstance.
it looks like it's gonna be a fun adventure buddy film.
I like how you said buddy film.
It is.
I just left off the buddy cop film. Oh, Scott Denise's in the chat. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Oh gosh,
You're
Scott's
the best. He said he's glad to see you on here, and wanted to know what made you decide to make a pinball machine versus something like a video game, because pinball's awesome. And you obviously inspired him, Scott, because look at his game. When I first played it, I was like, I get the TNA vibes. Right?
Well, Scott's looking for a shout out here. Actually, I met him, and he's a really nice guy. And I was like, you're the reason I made a pinball game. It's all you. And he was so nice. He handed me a special little tape. He's like, is it out of print? You're gonna. And I was like,
the
oh,
pink
cool.
one?
Thank you. It's the soundtrack to TNA, I think. Yes. So he told me it was out of print. I hope he wasn't pulling my leg. But it was totally, he's the reason I made a game. I heard rumors of this guy who made it in his basement, this game. And I was like, what? You can do that? And it was shortly after, it was right as I was catching the pinball bug. So it was like, okay, you can do it yourself. And then I always had my curiosity. I've only been thinking about pinball or like playing it for like 4 years now. I'm really new to this.
Hello, everyone that's joining us for episode 8 of the Big Picture Pinball Show. We have an exciting episode for y'all today. We have the legendary voiceover actor, Mr. Boom Shakalaka himself, Tim Kitzrow, with us. So we're going to show y'all a reel here in a little bit of his work, but you should know who he is. He did several pinball machines, but he's most known for his work in NBA Jam. Yes. Oh, yeah. Dimpled Brain, the voice of pinball. We like to think so, too. I mean, me personally. It's been fun seeing Tim show up to some of these shows this year we saw him quite a few times, and we're all kind of getting out there. And James was like, "Hey, what if we invited Tim onto this show?" And I was like, "You talked to him? He's a legend. I'm too nervous to talk to them." James was like, "Oh yeah."
Well, my conversation.
Hello, Retro Gaming with Hopper.
I learned a lot of, I learned that Tim was much more than just a voice, that there was actually a person back there with a background in theater and practice at Second City. He is both, he's a writer, an actor, a voiceover artist, based in Chicago. Outside of doing all these wonderful video games that you hear his voice on and pinball games, he is a trained actor, and he's worked in most mediums: theater, film, and television, and radio. So he's much more than just a strange voice on the pinball games, or an excited voice. So we'll say excited.
He does all sorts of voices. It's funny. I remember when I first realized that because I grew up, playing video games, James. You said you never played NBA Jam, but definitely in my young preteen years, that's how we would solve rivalries between me and my brother and our friends. We'd just be like, all right, well, let's take this to the arcade and play some NBA Jam in the 90s. So then later on, when I got into pinball several years later, and then someone was like, oh yeah, did you know that this voice you're hearing in Elvira Scared Stiff is the same voice that does the NBA Jam and NBA Fast Break and stuff like that? And I was just like, such a small world in this industry. So it's cool. Everything comes back to pinball is the moral of that story.
And filmmaking. Everything comes back to
pinball.
Oh
yeah, right. Because this show is about filmmaking. And audio is very important for storytelling. So that's
a
the
lot
connection.
of the same. That's our weave here. Is that a lot of the same principles are brought into pinball games and arcade games, performance,
Mitchell,
theater. A lot of the same technology as far as videotaping and audio recording. And it takes time to develop these characters, and we're going to talk to Tim about how he brought all those things together. So, and what's best to see for those people who don't know the video games like myself, but are filmmakers. Hopefully, you're watching this program. It's to see some work. So we've cut together a quick reel for Tim, so people can see what he does and see what he brings to all these games. So. If we could roll that, and then we'll come back around the other side and hang out with Tim and chat with him a little bit.
Welcome to DUB Jam! Hi everyone, I'm Tim Kitzrow. Deep into the Matrix we go, seeking answers from the Oracle on round 2 of the playoffs. Tonight's musical mashup, Dub Jam takes on Smooth Jam. Disco Demolition Night at the Oracle. Put on your dancing shoes, do a little dance, give a little tug, get down tonight! Where does Disco Ball go? Disco to the hole! Kaboom! And where does this one go? Disco there too! Boom! Shaka! Laka! Dub Nation is on fire, sweeping the first 2 rounds. I gotta keep playing. I am jacked.
Hey, hello, Tim. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, how are you, Moto? Hello, James. And when people say, how did you get into this? And no one goes about, I don't think anyway, like especially 30 years ago, I'm going to get into pinball and video game voiceover acting. And it's just such a random thing. And I don't think that one could go about doing it. Maybe these days in video games, things have changed a lot, but I also happen to be there at the beginning of the more speech in games and the sports video games. But as far as voices in pinball games, generally they would use whoever was in the studio. Steve Ritchie, whatever. Everybody would try a voice, and if they couldn't, then they would go out to an agency. Tina Fey is in Theater of Magic, I believe. Some of the old Second City people, were with agents there. But otherwise, it was just a bit of random luck. But once I got in, and I was a fairly decent mimic to do things like Popeye and Rod Serling for Twilight Zone, which helped my case. But otherwise, I was just doing random characters that I created, like a Roadshow, Ted of Red and Ted, Attack from Mars, various voices, Elvira, what time is it? Time to get scared, Steve! And that's just, having fun with, the old days of Second City SCTV. Joe Flaherty used to do Count Floyd, and he'd have his Monster Horror Chiller Theaters. So it's kind of a ripoff of that.
Those are so iconic for pinball too. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Big Picture Pinball Show. It is episode 9 and it is officially our new favorite episode because we'll be talking about Mark Mandeltort, the founder and original owner of Marco Pinball. But hey James, how are you?
Hello. No, I am fine. I hope everybody had a safe and happy holiday. And we are back again for another
Hey everybody.
Big Picture Pinball Show. And yeah, this is a little bit different show than our other shows because we always highlight a filmmaker and talk about their filmmaking as it pertains to their love for pinball. And this show is a little different because we're gonna be playing some of our videos and some video clips that we've created about a very special man who was also the founder of Marco Pinball, but also he was the executive producer of our show, and he'll be very much missed.
In lieu of getting into other more established industries, I chose to focus on pinball machines. After all these various arcade chains came and went, and distributorships came and went, and manufacturers came and went, we knew there was a need to keep these machines out of the landfill. So we had always had a problem sourcing parts, and that seemed to be a vacuum in the market for pinball parts. Like so many companies, we started in the garage, and after my wife kicked me out of the garage, we were forced into the pinball industry full-time. We started with a paper catalog that I wrote on Word, actually, and that evolved into a fatter newsprint catalog pre-internet. And then the internet came along, and with the help of family members, we evolved into probably the first internet pinball presence. You know, the people in the pinball industry in general, not just our company, are all passionate about pinball. And we look for people who also have that same passion to be in the industry. It's not the highest paying industry in the world, but it is the most fun. So we look for like-minded people to work with us, and we've found them. We have, fantastic managers and helpers and workers and road people, and I hope they enjoy it as much as I do coming to work every day. It's never the same thing twice on any given day, and the industry continues to grow. It's been on a roller coaster for the last 80 years, and we're back on the upswing now.
So James, when I met you, I was like, oh, you're actually a professional movie producer. Because Mark always had respect for professionals in any space, and people that, especially in the art space. And so once I started telling you the story, I saw how interested you got in it, James. That's when I realized, and also those of you that know Mark well know that he doesn't like being filmed and being on camera. He preferred to be behind the camera. So thinking back, like, holy crap, we don't really have a lot of footage of Dad. And we've been talking about, Nancy just recently retired, and Mark was, he had no other plans after pinball, but we wanted to make it so he didn't have to be there 70 hours a week. That was an option. It didn't always happen. He still was. So it's one of those things that I kind of had like an oh shit moment, like, oh, we need to get Mark chronicled more because he's had all these great things. I've heard it a bunch, and when you're around somebody like that who's so brilliant, like for all your life, you kind of forget just how special somebody like that is.
Welcome to episode 10 of the Big Picture Pinball Show. Hello, James. Welcome.
Hello, Emoto. Good to see you again.
I love your golden cat, your lucky cat, and the RGB lights, actually. For those of you who don't know who Chuck Prisbol is of Most Visual, you guys will meet him soon. But all of the latest Stern mini documentaries and all those promotional trailers for all the games coming out since, we'll talk about that later with Chuck, but you know what trailers I'm talking about, right? The stuff that we drool over and we wait for to see when Stern announces a new title. Chuck's the guy behind it, and we have him here tonight.
I think a good game design has a good mixture of both easy and hard shots, easy to follow, lots of shot flow. It's got to give you that feeling that you accomplished something always. That's how I approach any design.
So this is Avengers Infinity Quest Pinball, where we take the comic book universe and turn it into the ultimate pinball experience.
So the story is basically the Black Order has gone through time and collected the gems, but they haven't reached Thanos yet. So Doctor Strange is sending all the Avengers back in time to battle the Black Order to get those gems back.
I want you to bring back that gem.
Let's get him, team.
It's just a really great union of both layout and rules and pinball moments that all comes together in an amazing package.
You look at this and you can go, it's a Keith game from a mile away.
This is Team Elwin's third game at Stern Pinball.
Harrison Drake is our lead mechanical engineer.
I'd never touched a pinball machine before I started working here.
Our head programmer is Rick Nagel. The guy's a ninja.
We work a little different than the other teams in that he will design the rule set as well as the playfield layout.
Our support programmer, Raymond, who also helped me with some of the rules.
I'm able to just come up with rules that I like and hope other people like them as well.
And of course, Zombie Yeti, Jeremy Packer on art.
I'm aiming to be the Keith Elwin of art.
Chuck, how did you get into pinball?
You know, it was just like bars and restaurants in the 90s. You know, I would be there with friends and we'd play. And I had a friend that, you know, we went on a snowboard trip to Breckenridge, and they had, I think they had Theater of Magic at this like restaurant that we went to. And I was really just sold on that. I mean, I had played in arcades. I grew up kind of in arcades, you know, but
awesome.
I wasn't necessarily good at pinball. I was, I'd play a little bit here and there, but you know, it's not like I took off playing. I just really like to play when I'd go out with friends, and I started to drag friends around to like pub crawls. Just because, you know, I would know like there's this game here and that game there, and we could, you know, kind of hit 4 or 5 places in Wicker Park in Chicago, and just, you know, drink and play pinball.
So Rush just came out, so this is a perfect example of Chuck's work. You know, he gets to go in, see the game before any of us, and then make it look so pretty just to show us. And you got a lot of really cool shots, like super dynamic shots to show off the game. The color looks beautiful.
When you shoot these, do you shoot them at Stern, or do you get to take them to a different facility? Because it's, yeah, it looks like a really cool little space.
I can tell you, you know, Stern has a section that they've built out. Actually, Echelon Design, they built out this cube area, and we wheel the games in, or usually Zach Sharp usually comes and wheels the game in, and it's got a cover on it so no one can see it.
The secret studio.
Yeah, and it comes into the space, and a lot of times Zach will shoot it. And you know, we have a curtain, we close it up, and hopefully no one can see it while we're shooting. And you know, they could probably hear it. Probably sounds pretty crazy in there, like, you know, because we turn the sound of the game all the way down so no one could hear it out there either. So it's people shooting pinball, and a lot of like, hey, can you shoot the right ramp, right ramp, right ramp, right ramp.
Sure. Who's actually doing the flip of the game usually during one of these filming sessions? Is it usually the designer that knows the game the best, or do you have like you go to these car test tracks, and there's this one guy that tests all the cars? How's that work in the life of a pinball shoot?
I mean, it's probably half of them are Zach Sharp, but you know, Keith shoots his games usually.
He's the race car driver.
He's the race car driver, yeah.
It is hilarious though. Like the first one we did for the Star Wars one, it was my assistant that was shooting the game, and we didn't really know much about the game either. Yeah, it was Mark Salak, who I work with a lot, and he's okay, but he's not like a tournament player by any means. And so for the next game, Zach had just been hired like around that time, and the next game we shot was Guardians of the Galaxy, and Zach was shooting it, and it just blew my mind. Like,
you can actually hit the shots that I want to see.
Yeah, you can actually see the shots where I have the camera.
Isn't that so nice? Where you're like, okay, hit this drop target bank, and then the person actually hits it, and you get the shot, and like, you know.
Oh my god, it still blows my mind. Like all these like multi balls.
So much faster.
Oh my God, like it's really great to watch. And sometimes, you know, I can't always tell until I see it when I get the footage back, and I'm like, wow, he hit that and he hit that. And he hit those 2 in a row. I didn't even notice, you know.
Do you ever put
And
in slow-mo multi-ball footage? I don't remember if I've seen.
yeah, you know, I shoot a lot of it
Because it's
slow.
so beautiful. Like, yeah, when you see the kinetic energy of the balls hitting each other at the exact right time.
It is a weird thing to shoot it slow because, you know, I always thought, yeah, that's the way to go. Just shoot everything slow. You could get in there and move with it. The first video we did, actually, the Star Wars one, I think the whole video was slow. And the first comments I got back were, it looks great. Cut out all the slow motion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's
oh,
true.
wow.
It takes too long, but it is
Yeah, so
beautiful visuals.
yeah. And I mean, the edit had to be completely redone. You know, just one comment cut out the slow motion. It's like, oh wow, I have to redo that.
Now, is it all handheld, or are you using any kind of stabilization for those shots?
Yeah, I mean, we really mix it up. You know, there's handheld, there's a slider, and sometimes a gimbal. We were working with the jib for a while. The jib is probably going to come back, but the jib has its own issues trying to get it in there and get it centered. You know, one of the weirdest things that I guess people don't realize is a lot of the game only makes sense from certain points of view. You know, you want to be kind of straight on from the player's point of view. And if you get the jib in there and it's coming in from the side, to line everything up it's really hard to do.
Tasker Smith asked, is nudging allowed when filming? I imagine
it is definitely allowed.
Zach nudges while he plays, gets you good shots. Or
oh yeah, I didn't realize how much those great players nudge, honestly. You know, I always thought it's a little more taboo, but no, they're really pros at nudging too.